Hello everyone. There has been a lot of updates on cases this week, and I actually just posted an update on the Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly murders. But we do have some updates in some other cases, such as the disappearance of Marine Charles Alex Benfield from San Diego, as well as Sade Robinson's murder. And there isn't an abundance of information where I can make individual videos on these two cases, but there is new information that I think we need to talk about. So today we're going to be compiling those together for this video. First off, I want to say right off the bat, Charles Benfield has been found alive and he is safe. But just days ago before this, he was actually spotted at a gas station in California, and it said that he was trying to buy a drink and was asking for directions. Family at the time believed he was trying to get directions so that he could walk across California and return home. However, if you remember from the video I did on his disappearance, he had lost his phone after he had gone out for drinks. He was arrested, he was sent to this rehab place, and then was released the next morning. He didn't have a phone, so he was trying to walk across the entire country from California, I think over to North Carolina his family lived, just by asking people for directions and, I don't know, maybe trying to find maps at gas stations. He also was said to have tried to be buying the beverage on his card. However, as far as we know, all of his money had been taken out of his bank accounts, so you'd think he would be using cash to buy things, especially if he was trying to lay under the radar. Border Patrol was also said to have made contact with him around this time, and as far as the state police said, Charles had told them that he didn't want to be found and that he was fine. However, it is said that his story changed multiple times, and the family said this just didn't sound like something Charles would say or do. Now, this officer apparently ended up giving Charles a ride to a gas station in the area of Ocotillo, California. By Sunday, April 21st, an individual ended up contacting the family to tell them that Charles had actually spent the night with them at a campground and that they had fed Charles, and in the morning, he ended up leaving on foot with only a gallon of water. The individual reported saying Charles seemed off. However, they assumed that was probably because he had just walked 180 miles from San Diego over to Ocotillo, California. And the whole reason that this individual didn't contact family until after Charles left was because they didn't know Charles was missing until after he had left, and then they went to a gas station and seen his missing persons flyer. He was said to also still be wearing the same clothing pictured from the gas station screenshot. And after this, he was still believed to be walking east. But from the information that family posted on their Facebook page as of yesterday, April 28th, Charles has been located and is receiving medical attention. Family saying, and I quote, "Thank you to the civilians who went above and beyond to help locate and actually make sure he was found and safe. Sadly, the military and police did very little to aid in the search, but thankfully there were those who made it a priority of theirs and did everything possible to help." End quote. And honestly, this is the best case scenario that any of us could ever hope for when someone is missing, for someone to be found alive and safe. And honestly, it doesn't truly matter in the end why Charles decided to leave, why he may have ran, what made him decide that that was a good decision. Remember, as the family did state, he's receiving medical attention, so I'm wondering if maybe something mentally was going on. But either way, he is found safe and he is now receiving the care that he needs. That's honestly all I really care about. I don't really care about all of the other stuff at this point. Charles is safe, and this is the best ending that we could have to any case, and I truly do hope Charles gets the help that he needs, whatever that may be. Now, up next, I don't have as great of news as we do in the case with Charles Benfield, because I want to talk about some new points that have been brought up in the murder of Sade Robinson that are deeply disturbing to me. As we talked about in my previous video going through what happened to Sade, after she was allegedly murdered by Maxwell Anderson, he chopped her body up and scattered it seems, across the beach in Milwaukee. And at that point, police hadn't found her entire body. However, a torso and arm have now been located on a remote stretch of tree-lined beach in South Milwaukee, about a quarter mile from an apartment complex. And it is believed that those body parts are of Sade Robinson, however, it hasn't been officially confirmed yet.
You can still see footprints all over this remote beach that's along Lake Michigan here in South Milwaukee. Neighbors tell me investigators were out here for much of the morning on Thursday. This home security camera footage shows investigators by the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's van just up the hill from the beach.
It's yards from my front door.
Someone walking the remote beach around 7:30 this morning found a torso and an arm just yards away from Angela Buchanan's home.
I'm definitely on edge now.
The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office believes the body parts belong to 19-year-old Sade Robinson.
This is not something that anybody should have to go through, especially such a young girl.
Angela was just down on the beach the evening before walking her dog.
It just kind of makes me scared now to kind of want to come down here with my dog, and do what we do every day, because now it's, am I gonna come down here and be the next one that's gonna find more body parts?
Angela's neighbor Gail, who didn't want to be on camera, says the beach is her escape. Is this disturbing to you?
Honey, the whole world is disturbing right now.
With tears in her eyes, Gail can't help but think about Sade's life that was cut too short.
Oh my God, my heart breaks for her. If I would have found those, I would have been devastated. I can't even imagine what their family feels like. My heart's gonna cry for this. I can't. It's gotta stop.
Something that won't stop is the search for Sade's body. Gail joined the family and friends along the shoreline Thursday afternoon. Investigators say they were taking a sonar boat out on the lake to look for more body parts on Friday.
Here's the thing. Investigators believed a couple weeks back that the man arrested in this case, which again is Maxwell Anderson, did not have any other victims. But riddle me this, because some new information kind of contradicts that. As I mentioned in the previous video, it was said that blood was found inside of Maxwell's home, including a smear on the wall leading to a basement where he had a sex dungeon. But a week later now, police are coming out to report that the blood found in Maxwell's home was in fact not Sade's blood. So whose blood was everywhere from bedding in the bedroom to blood smeared on the wall leading to his sex dungeon basement? It was literally stated that it was a significant amount of blood. So in my opinion, that doesn't mean that it was just maybe a drop here, a drop there. Significant amount of blood means that there was a significant amount of blood. Enough blood for them to be extremely concerned, it seemed. Enough blood for them to associate it with it possibly being Sade's blood. At first, they definitely seemed to assume it was just Sade's blood, because if she had been chopped up inside of his home and then scattered places, there would be a significant amount of blood. But it's not Sade's blood, apparently. New statements are now reading, and I quote, "Complainant knows that preliminary testing of the blood was done by the Wisconsin State Crime Lab and that the preliminary DNA analysis supports the conclusion that there is no support for inclusion of Robinson's DNA in any of the blood or swabs tested, and for some of those swabs, Robinson's DNA is excluded." End quote. So who the hell's blood is all over Maxwell's home then? And does that now mean that police are going to go back on their previous claims that they don't believe that Maxwell has any other victims? Because I did see a statement that they believe at this point in time that he may not, but that's also probably because they don't have any other evidence to support that. And if this blood isn't coming back as Sade's, I want to assume they're going to test it against Maxwell's, but if he doesn't have any significant injuries that would indicate his blood being everywhere like that, then whose blood is it? Unless he did attack her in his home and, you know, a knife can slip and you can cut yourself or something like that. Maybe he did have an injury that we just don't know about and his blood was smeared everywhere. That could be possible. But at this point, they haven't said it's Maxwell's and all they're saying is it's not Sade's. So again, whose blood is it? That is very concerning. It's also very concerning to me that he seemed to try to lure other women in his past to his home and that these women described, you know, all of that as very sketchy, very shady. It's been said that he has his backyard dug up. It looks like he's digging a huge hole in his backyard. He again had this alleged sex dungeon in his basement. He seemed to be doing all of this renovation in his home around this time as well. And then, you know, Sade is murdered and dismembered and then scattered across all of Milwaukee, it seems like. But then there's someone else's blood in his home. That's concerning. When you lay all that stuff out and look at it, it's very concerning and it makes me question, does he maybe have other victims out there? On top of that, Sade's father, Carlos Robinson, has finally spoken out as well, saying, and I quote, "For a parent to have to deal with this type of trauma and tragedy is inconceivable. It's almost like I wake up living in a nightmare every day. He's definitely not my daughter's type. I don't know. I got so many questions I can't answer." End quote. So that is the information we currently have on Sade's case. What do you all think? What do you think about this new information about the blood not coming back as Sade's? Because the police seemed very confident in it being Sade's, and now that it's coming back not, that opens a whole new can of worms. I am wondering though if it possibly could be Maxwell's, if knife slipped or something like that and then, you know, smeared it or something on the wall. But again, police aren't saying that. So whose blood is it? Whose blood is it? But let's have a big chat down below about this new information. I'll be in the comment section chatting with you all. And as any other big information comes out, I will be chatting with you all about it. As always, I hope you all stay safe out there, lock your windows and doors, and I hope to see you in the next video.